Okay, by now you may have seen the video of me creating a lamp. So very proud of it. I had this great idea to use basic plumbing parts and expensive plumbing parts to create a lamp that would function as well or better than what I had been using previously. And I did it, sort of. It worked for about 5 minutes and then it fell apart. And if I'm really being honest with myself, there were some issues with it. Uh, Here are the pieces of my broken dreams. And quite frankly, this part is heavy. It's a lot of steel, a lot of good stainless steel that is outrageously inexpensive, but too heavy to really use for this lamp, for any lamp. I tried to compensate with that with a big piece of metal inside this box, but even with that big piece of metal in the box, if both of the lamps, both of the goosenecks were in place on this lamp, it would become so heavy, the entire thing would just fall over. I do like this color though. I liked a lot of things about this. I like that it had a flat surface here that I could do things like put uh, helping hands on and use them if I wanted to do some soldering that wasn't underneath the microscope. So I decided to continue on and consider this a prototype. A failed experiment, but an experiment that I learned a lot from. And I was really happy to do it. I had a great time. So what was next? Well, this whole idea came from building a lamp. What I currently use right now is this. This is a fine lamp. It does a great job at making a good spotlight. But in order to use it, I have to clamp it to the side of my desk. And that sometimes cannot be useful. But you notice it has got a good light to it. And I know this looks very bright, but underneath the spotlight underneath a microscope looks like it's just a normal brightness. Imagine if you got an area that has been magnified by 100 times, the amount of light in there does not get magnified by 100 times, just the space. And so having a very bright light means that you can see it normally. I wanted to start by just getting another one of the lamps I like so much. This would be my starting point. I'm just going to use it. It's inexpensive. Its LEDs are 5 volt, 2 amp LEDs, according to this little power supply adapter. And I think this could be the base of things. I don't know why I didn't start with this before. I thought I could save money with plumbing parts. Turns out the cheapest way to do things is to start with something that already works and try to improve it. The new lamp that I'm using has a very simple design to it. This is a very small driver board that takes 5 volts from a USB power source. And then the base that I'm using is just simple metal. Again, I'm not very skilled at working with metal, so I'm just going to go through and see what I can do, but I'm not going to include a lot of footage of this. And okay, here is the metal all drilled, and I'm just going to just do a montage of putting it together. These internal pieces are the same pieces that I used in the second video. It's the power supply, the driver, the dimmer. I'll kind of cover the outside of the box later on. But it is, I guess, the size that I really like, and I really am liking the way this is coming together. It is, in my mind, somewhat compact. I used washers, these big steel washers on both the inside and the outside to add more structure to the metal. I really like this fader. Um, it's hard to cut through metal cleanly. If I had a 3D printer or was more skilled with metalwork, that would look a lot nicer. But I kind of like the hand-built look. These little switches are great. 20 millimeter hole. I have a hole saw, a hole drill bit, and that seemed to work really well. I like to use the C14. It's an actual plug, and I can do it anywhere, and I get those plugs anywhere, and I don't need an external adapter. It's all built into this device. On the bottom, is kind of where the magic is, I think, in some ways. I built these little things here because one of the biggest problems I had was what happens if the lights are really over extended, the box would tip over. Well, now I can use these little legs to sort of give it more stability, to add an extra base to it, and it solves that problem. But they add extra depth to the bottom, so I put a little extra stand here just to make it stand flat. Exposed screws everywhere. I hate hidden screws. I don't want to put tape on something. Everything I want to make, everything I want to work on, if it is more repairable than not, that's always a bonus in my opinion. Little box was cheap, just a little metal box I picked up from some Chinese manufacturer off a website. And so the other thing about this is I kind of feel like if you were to look at certain lights, it looks a bit like a crab, which I think is kind of cute. Um, the spotlights are good. I can put them anywhere. And the last thing that I like about this, and the last thing I'll say, is that these little metal legs came with the added bonus of being able to put various things on them that are magnetic and move them around. So that on this workspace, which is just a thick silicone pad that is heat resistant, I could easily work on something if I just want to solder some wires together, if I want to do something. It's very mobile. And if I'm working under my microscope, I am no longer um, in the situation where all the shadows are going to cover one side of some electronic components. I can put lamps on both sides. I can put lamps in different places. This mobility is really what I was after. Yeah, this looks great. I don't have shadows on one side of each component. I can move the lamp around. I think this is good. I think the first thing I'm going to work on is maybe replacing this track fuse, with some thin wire and maybe this pad. So this is exactly what I was looking for. See you in the next one.